Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and good evening. This is the PowerTable. My name is Eugene Kwach. This is a conversation where we delve deeply and critically into issues that concern you as Kenyans. And we, of course, we chew them into policies that you can be able to swallow. We don't not do this alone, but we bring on board leaders who can be able to help us to understand issues at hand. Well, tonight I host the former president, the future president of Kenya, I dare say, the former CAS of industrialization, that is David Osiany. Well, of course, this is a man, a gentleman, whose journey spans student leadership, political activism, public policy engagement, and executive government. A former CS, as I said, in the Ministry of Industrialization, and one of Kenya's most visible public affairs commentators. He is also the group chairman of Crestwood Marketing and Communications. Through David Osiany's lenses, we're going to understand issues on politics, debt, and Kenya's road to 2027. Thank you so much, CS.
Thank you very much, Eugene. It's nice to be here with you.
Asante sana.
Asante.
Yes. Good to have you on the show.
Yeah.
Perhaps we could begin with what had about your past a bit, and particularly on the leadership positions that you've held. And that spans student leadership. You've been a public affairs, of course, commentator. You've even been a radio presenter. Yeah. You've been a CAS. And you've done a lot of things. How has this journey shaped your understanding of power and public service in Kenya?
Thank you. I think leadership makes you understand that power is transient.
Yeah.
That it comes in stints and goes. It makes you understand that you are in the role that you are in as a leader because of the people you lead.
Yeah.
Because without people to lead, you cannot be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, ordinarily and almost automatically, one must be inclined to turn back and say, if I am here on behalf of these people I lead, what do they want? Sometimes not everything they want is good for them, and it's upon the leader to discern how to let them know that this may not be right for them. But leadership is an honor, not prestige. Mm-hmm. You must understand that when you are thrust into a role of leadership in your young age, at all levels, you exercise it because people have had confidence in you.
Yes.
People trust you.
Yeah.
And I usually say trust is like virginity. You lose it once. Mm-hmm. And so I have been blessed and privileged to be honored as a leader from my younger days. I mean, whether it's head boy in primary school, whether it's a prefect in high school, whether it's the youngest president or chair of the Students' Union at University of Nairobi.
Yes.
Most recently, I was, very graciously allowed to lead as a deputy minister or chief administrative secretary for the Ministry of Industry and Trade at only 34. And in all these opportunities, the learnings have been the same. You lead because you have been trusted.
Yes.
You have been chosen, not because you're the best, but because an opportunity has come that favored you, and therefore exercise your leadership recognizing that it passes, but it must be impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Many Kenyans do not have the privilege that you've gotten to be, or rather to experience power to the capacity that you did experience it as a chief administrative secretary. I believe you were and sat on tables that made key decisions that affected Kenyans' lives. In your perspective, what does a normal Kenyan, the hoi polloi, what don't they see that you were able to see? The reality of power, some of the things that you see from that position that they will not or they cannot really understand.
I think what power or leadership at executive level allows you to see is the multi-dynamics in achieving what looks like simple policy. The the wheels and bolts and nuts that have to turn in order for policy to be impactful, meaningful, and to be able to touch on the lives of the people at the bottom. It may look easy. For example, one of the things I've celebrated the most of leaders in the country was Mishuki trying to bring discipline to our transport sector. It may look simple to say, as from today, all matatus must do this. But the dynamics in that decision that lead to the actualization of that decision are crazy. It's getting to paint the matatus with a yellow line. It's getting to see how to source some of these uniforms in places where they don't exist. It's also grappling with the weight of defiance, because sometimes guys will just say no. And as a political leader, you want to balance, do I want to please the people or do I want to make it better for them? It may be inconveniencing in the immediate sense, but in the long run, it's hugely impactful and helpful for them. And and leaders are, that's what leadership is about. It's about making the tough decisions. I remember Raila Odinga making the decision about the Mau years back and saying, man, I think if we go to the Mau, if we fell trees today, we will pay the price tomorrow. People must leave the Mau. It cost him hugely the Kalenjin vote at the time because he was up against another political moment where the leaders of the region did not want people to leave the Mau because it was for political expediency. In the long run, years later, we have to grapple with, mudslides and all this, which are effects of that. So I think the biggest thing about leadership is that balancing. It's crazy, it's critical, it's a thing you do daily, and you have to try and get the balance of saving the nation while also not entirely losing your popularity for it.
I'm trying to understand, because in leadership, there is a time that people think that you're not really working. This government is not working. But probably from an executive role, there could be certain structural barriers that could prevent some of the government policies from being implemented. What are some of these that you experienced during your time and probably you think that could be facing even the current regime?
I think the biggest thing about how governments work, especially for a country like ours, where you have to grapple with the rule of law, is that we do not have the advantage of a leader making a decision and the decision is law, because tomorrow you want to implement A and the next thing someone is in court. Sometimes people are in court not because it's good for the country, but because it's good for them. So not everything that's taken to court that that attempts to oppose what government, for example, is doing, not everyone who goes to court because they love the country. Some go to court because they too are business people who would have benefited if that had continued. All these things happen. They stand in the way. So you just have to find a smart way of ensuring that while abiding within, operating within the law, you achieve your aspirations. But even more importantly, leaders must always be careful not to overpromise. The challenge becomes when we give a commitment and say, I'm going to be able to carpet this road from here to here, when you haven't consulted the budget. Or sometimes you then have to look at the pre-existing budgets before decisions are made. It's a whole hot, nice mess. But that's what leadership is, cutting through that mess to deliver. So that in my opinion, makes some decisions very hard to take and makes some things very hard to execute. But even greater, I'll borrow from my communication lens. Every leader must effectively communicate what they are doing. There are people who are doing a great job out there, but because it is not communicated, nobody knows about them.
Okay.
So you will find someone has, I mean, yesterday I was writing about Kiambu County government, and I wrote about it because I saw the Senate committee had made mention, among other county governments, Muranga, name them. There are county governments that have done great but have not communicated what they're doing.
Okay.
I had a look at the health data on healthcare, especially maternal and newborn healthcare.
Yeah.
Counties where we have the least level of, newborn fatalities.
Yes.
Which ones have the highest, and the ones that are doing great are not speaking.
Okay.
So people just make assumptions. You're doing nothing.
Interesting. Now, I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
Because indeed there are structural barriers, or rather some barriers that could make a leader not to perform as is expected by the common mananchi.
That's true.
Because sometimes, again, they overpromise.
Yes.
And there is probably lack of budget for that and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
but I'm trying to understand, or rather a common mananchi will want to understand, what then should be the measure that a leader is working or not working, so that also the common mananchi does not expect much or more from its own government, including what they're supposed to be doing themselves.
Communication.
Interesting.
Communication.
From
the government.
the government.
Or from the leaders.
Okay.
To the bottom. Communication is not policy talk. Communication is the ability for you to break down that policy into chunks of information that the lowest person at the bottom with the least education is able to swallow and understand. I always urge leaders to speak figuratively and let it make sense. For example, when you say that we have charged this governor because we have lost 25 billion shillings in their county, it looks like a number. But if you break it down and say, this is why this is painful. Look at what 25 billion can do. I want you to calculate with me. For us to be able to build and equip a level 3 hospital, we need 25 million shillings. We therefore mean that this governor has embezzled funds that would have given us 100 level 3 hospitals. Now that makes sense to a Mwananchi. Communicate. If you leave a gap in communicating policy, people try to find what they think it means. And you must adjust to the realities of politics. No leader who wields power operates without the knowledge that politics is going to be around pursuing the power they wield. So today you are the one wielding power. The people outside who want that power will propagate against you if you don't communicate effectively. And before you know it, you will be grappling with, okay, I thought I was doing well. What is this? So communication is important. But the second thing is authenticity. Just be real. It is normal for you not to achieve what you set out to achieve. Don't be Superman about it. I intended to achieve free secondary education. The budgetary constraints, the debt that we are suffering means we cannot achieve it now. However, incrementally, we will implement the following phases. Number one, get the books to the schools.
So is it fair to reason that probably the reason why the opposition are more popular compared to the government is because they are so quick and in communicating what the government is not doing,
or maybe the government isn't doing what they promised to do and isn't communicating what they are doing,
the steps they've made to achieve that.
That's it.
Interesting. CS, you worked with President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Absolutely.
What do you make of his leadership style, this gentleman?
I must admit, I had a great leader in President Uhuru Kenyatta. In my role, we did not interface on day-to-day, but I had occasions where I would be in rooms where he made decisions with other presidents. I would be in places where he was.
Yes.
He was an easy guy,
Yeah.
happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
Very huge on delegation.
Yes.
So he just delegated and trusted that you would do what you need to do.
Yes.
Deliberate, intentional,
Yes.
which I think is also what I see with William Ruto. Deliberate, intentional. Maybe William Ruto as president is a bit more, on the ground guy. President Uhuru was on the ground guy, but not as overtly as President Ruto. But President Uhuru was a great leader in his own right. His heart was in the right place. He had his share of misgivings,
Okay.
which is the very nature of all humans. Even those who think that they can be all too great or all too clean end up with a few things that drag them down. But in the whole, I think he was a great president. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me quickly ask you this before I move to the next question. Now that you've brought in the comparison between President Ruto and the former President Uhuru.
Yeah.
Because towards the end of his leadership, of his government, there was a RUTO war.
Yeah.
That manifested when we deeply, and actually when we saw now President Uhuru supporting an opposition leader then, that is Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
What really transpired, as from an insider perspective, what was the cause of Uhuru war?
I honestly wouldn't know. I still ask myself to date.
Yes.
At that time, it worked well for us because I've been a Raila Odinga, boy through the years. So I said, well, alhamdulillah. But I'm still unable to tell what really happened. I have an uncle who says there are three things that make men fight: money, land, and women. And I don't know whether his theory applies that one of the three may have been a challenge with them.
Yeah.
Those are their personal wars. We are never in their personal spaces.
Yes.
Occasionally, I saw it play out. Didn't look too good.
Yes.
Which is why I asked, what may have happened? What is this that Ruto did to President Uhuru or vice versa?
Yes.
That was so personal that couldn't be forgiven.
Yes.
Thankfully, I'm a Christian, so I believe in the power of forgiveness. I hope that they find it if they haven't yet. I saw them walking in State House. I would want to imagine that they were able to close in that gap and find their camaraderie again and forge it forwards. Eugene.
Yes.
Any sitting president wants to borrow from the knowledge of a past president. The one thing I find very admirable about American politics is how, in America, you don't even call a former president former. All of them are called president. To date, President Obama, President Bush, that's what they are called. And each incumbent knows only too well that they need to borrow from previous leaders to ask, I'm going through this situation with DRC. How did you deal with it? We have this situation in South Sudan and we are the big brother in the region. How did you handle it? What are the pitfalls? Which are the places I must not step on? And so it would best be that they find that friendship, if for nothing else, just for President Ruto to be able to learn from that well of experience. The good, the do's and the don't do's, whether he agrees or not, he will have listened.
Do you think, let me just, of course, just a bit. Do you think that the Ruto war, going into 2027, could help either part? Of course, we have the government, and of course, we have the part that is against the government, the united opposition.
Is there a war or it's imagined? I am unsure.
Well, we're going to answer that in a bit. Probably we get to understand that. But on the same breath that you described the presidency or the leadership of President Uhuru Kenyatta, I wish to understand from your perspective what you think of President William Ruto's leadership style, and particularly the economic agenda so far. And that is the bottom-up economic agenda. Has it been able to achieve what it was meant to achieve 3 years, 4 years down into his leadership, into his presidency?
Well, if we were to look at it as having crossed the 50% mark of his tenure in office, it's a mixed bag.
Okay.
There have been wins, there have been losses. I, for example, am a huge proponent for this affordable housing thing. But it was communicated so horribly that it immediately just was rejected flat out.
Yes.
I do not know whether the policy making process leading to the affordable housing thing was the challenge. I do not know whether there wasn't consultation. I know that the product is great.
Yeah.
I know they had huge challenges in explaining, why do we have to tax you? First, it was a lie, it's not a tax. Then it became a tax. Then it is a tax so that you can own. Then suddenly, no, you will not own, it's for others. Very good idea, communicated wrongly.
Yes.
And I think it's a huge win.
Okay.
But what I think from a policy-making perspective should be able to complement it is to, for example, reduce the cost of building for individual citizens. That is to see, how do we get much more competitive costs for cement, for steel, so that then, as government does what it's doing, if Eugene decides to go and build his own house or set of apartments to complement government's efforts, then it is not heavy, it's not expensive.
Yes.
That way then, when you reduce the costs or subsidize them, you will find the mushrooming of affordable houses across the country, because government in and of itself cannot entirely do it. They must make it easy for the private sector to achieve that. I think President RUTO has a very rare ability. He's mtu wa ground, okay? So he easily gets to any corner and would fit in well. He's comfortable in whatever part of the country. But I also believe that at the time of seeking government, which happens mostly because it's a war, whereas both sides of the divide, the one I belonged to and President Uhuru's and President Ruto's, had similar, nearly mirroring each other, policy areas of focus.
Yes.
The height of the campaigns came with what would look like it was overpromised. Now, if the delivery doesn't match, if you come and say, Mama Mboga tutanunua magari and all those things, whereas you use it figuratively as a political leader, the person at the ground is waiting to literally see it transforming. So they will lose sight of what you are trying to do to enable them achieve it. They will wait for it to be handed down. I would communicate it as when I become president, I will run projects. Projects that will enable you to borrow. Borrowing at, very low lending rates, which will then allow you to thrive, to grow your business, to do what? As opposed to, which is the same thing as saying, mtu wa bodaboda, ataendesha matatu. But if you don't tell them the process and what you're going to do as a catalyst towards that, it becomes a big challenge. So, mixed bag.
Interesting.
Some wins, some losses.
Interesting. You've been a close associate of Raila Odinga. Since way back when you were at the university. And I understand that you've also worked with him closely, even towards the end of his sunset days. Raila Odinga was known for his stance on the constitutionalism, on reforms, justice, and so on and so forth. Right now we have two factions of ODM, because one of the legacies that Raila Odinga has left is the ODM party. To continue with these reforms that he stood for. We have the faction of the Linda Mwananchi and the Linda Ground. I dare ask, which faction seemingly is continuing with the legacy of Raila Odinga?
The two are not mutually exclusive. There are people on both ends that espouse what Raila Odinga represented. I know for a fact that you have the Gladys Wangas who truly believe in what Raila represented. The Junet Mohammeds on one side, but you also have my brothers Babu and Sifuna on the other side who also believe in it.
Okay.
And when it gets there, I just say, let's all go back to Linda Chama, Linda ODM. What does our party stand for? Who are we? What's our DNA? What's our identity? And once we do that, let's find common ground. Eugene, Raila was a great believer in generational mix. It's the reason he made Gladys Wanga a chair in her early 40s. It's the reason he picked Sifuna to be Secretary General in his late 30s. It's the reason he picked people like myself.
Yes.
It's the reason he afforded opportunity and time
Yeah.
to people like Babu. Across the divide,
Yeah.
Junet Mohammed was mayor in Migori at a very young age,
Yes.
in his late 20s. And Raila Odinga accommodated him and onboarded him
Yes.
as a person at that young age. But as you look through the history of Raila, he also believed in the wisdom of age. He had William Olentimama. He has had his friends like Philip Okundi. He has had his bosom brother Oburu. He's not left them. People like Fred Gumo who have been his friends. He's gone for the middle-aged like the Oparanyas of the world, the Johos of the world. Raila was a great believer in generational mix. Now, ordinarily, sometimes why there would be a vicious war is because the young people would feel that the absence of Jacom spells doom for them, and so they want to take power. They want to lead the party. My solution would be, let's find a middle ground that accommodates all of us. No one will stand and decide that he is a custodian, a greater custodian of Raila Odinga's legacy or the spirit of Jacom more than the other. All of them are found on both sides. Let's find a common ground that accommodates all of us, that respects that age has its place because of the wealth of experience it brings.
Yes.
But that the youthfulness of our young people is also much needed. That verve, energy, gusto is required to make it a dynamic party.
Mheshimiwa, borrowing from your vocabulary, without circumlocution, permit me to ask, of course, what is that middle ground? Without circumlocution, directly, what is the middle ground that will bring...
The constitution of ODM.
Which is?
Just the constitution.
Because Sifuna and Babu says it is one term. The other faction believes that they in no way can be able to support the president. And the reason why they cannot support the president is because the president has gone against the constitution in several ways. And he has been human to Kenyans. They talk about the economy and so many things, which they believe that there is no way that they can be able to work with President William Ruto.
No. Well, there's a common saying, it's only a fool who doesn't change their minds. No one would have seen the possibility of Raila working even with Ruto after what he openly termed as a stolen election. What Babu and Sifuna are saying is right. They are justified in what they are saying. Their method may not be right. The gist of what they are saying is correct. What is it that we signed up for? That's what they're saying. Have those things been achieved? But I do not want them to dismiss also what Oburu is trying to do, to say, even if it were Raila Odinga as president, would he have achieved all this at this time? Now, the president, who is going to be the greatest beneficiary of a solid ODM, must therefore ensure that the issues being raised by the faction of Linda Mwananchi are dealt with. They are saying these extrajudicial killings have to end. and they have to end. They are saying, we had a 10-point agenda promising to end graft and corruption.
Yes.
Show tangible results for ending these. Let it not be talk. But you see, it is not right to assume that Linda ground people do not want the same results.
But let me ask you this way, Mheshimiwa.
Yeah.
Is it the best decision that ODM has made by kicking out Sifuna from the position of Secretary General? And I ask this because, one, Sifuna has outrightly said certain things that conflict the party's decision. And the party believes that it is wrong for a leader of his caliber to say such things publicly. And Sifuna believes that whatever he is saying is right because it is the stance of the ODM, the reason why ODM was actually formed. So do you believe that actually these two factions can be able to work at any point? Can they really be able to find a middle ground? Because they really have two
Divergent
opinions, strong ones.
Those diametrically opposed opinions
Yes.
were all in the house when Raila was alive. Why can't they exist when he's dead? Sifuna is an overly talented young man,
Yes.
has been an exemplary Secretary General. The things he's saying now, he did not start saying today. He said them then.
Okay.
But they were entertained in the party because eventually the party knows that they wield the numbers to subject that into a vote at the National Delegates Convention. And what happens at the National Delegates Convention is binding. So I would have taken the route of exhausting internal mechanisms, which I think is partly what they're saying, that we've suspended him, we want to exhaust internal party disputes. But Sifuna is saying, you guys have shown me the knife. You want to kill me, so I'm not coming to your guillotine. I would have Sifuna say what he has to say, subject it to the National Delegates Convention. If he feels that there are sufficient numbers to carry his side, because this is a democracy. Democracy cannot exist without divergent opinions. So that then one opinion is more popular than the other and paves way for the less popular. Democracy is why Raila, even when he felt his vote was stolen, did not ban the country. So I believe it serves ODM right. And the strength of ODM is to stick together. They must create space. All of us must.
Okay.
And I speak as a life member of ODM.
Yes.
Life member number 2,335 of the Orange Democratic Movement Party.
Yeah.
That Kina Sifuna, let's accommodate them.
Yes.
But they have to accept that eventually, if and when the NDC makes a decision and says, we have decided to make a coalition, say with UDA or with Jubilee, whatever party it is, that is the direction we go.
Should Sifuna and Babu Wino decide to completely choose their own path, what options do they have? What are some of the prospects that you can be able to maybe look at into the future for them to have?
I don't even want to envisage the possibility of them leaving the party.
But should it happen?
The strength of Babu and Sifuna are to remain in the ODM party and fight for their space within and take leadership from within. And I don't know them as cowards, so I don't foresee them bolting out because bolting out may be a bit dangerous politically for them. It may look promising, but may be fairly dangerous. So I don't even want to entertain it. I don't even want to give it as an option of should they. They have to stay within. I am an ODM member, and I would want them to stay within because they are right. It's time for young people to lead, but we must also entertain, respect, and accommodate the older ones. They don't become useless when they get old.
Okay.
They just become our wells of knowledge and consultation where we go and ask. So that for me is not even an option. It's not a discussion I'm having.
Yes. Let me ask, so many people, including those who are not members of the ODM party, do believe that the direction that the ODM party took to support the government of President William Ruto was a betrayal of the people because the ODM party was seen as the supporter, or rather the party that was with the people. And it is believed greatly by them that they have somehow betrayed the people, the owners of the party. What do you make of the cooperation between ODM and the government, even into 2027? Is this something that is viable if ODM has to survive? Because we're also looking at what should ODM do for it to survive post-2027. So many people actually have said that ODM is dead. When Raila died, ODM is now going to die. What must ODM do for it to survive post-2027?
For us to address how ODM got into this situation, we must look at the circumstances that led to the situation we have, where ODM then decided to make an association with UDA. The circumstances was that the country was teetering on the brink of absolute collapse.
Yes.
And as a global affairs enthusiast who reads widely about nations that have fallen and that have not, I'd understand. And because we really vilified and almost lynched Baba. I said, Baba, how?
Yeah.
But he explained it and it made sense, said David. And as he mentioned to many others,
Yes.
this was a choice for patriotism.
Yes.
Do we watch as the country collapses, or shall we resuscitate, repudiate the president where he's gone wrong, and then rebuild? And I agree with him that at the time that was the best decision. I sometimes ask whether we know what would have happened if we lost the country. Because it's good. Ruto must go. He could go. Then what? The biggest question was, then what?
Yes.
So because of that, and because ODM is a political party, and parties and political processes are to get power. But power is useless if it does not impact on the people. You secure power to transform lives of the people. Which brings me back to the 10-point agenda. The president has a duty, he's duty-bound to ensure that he keeps the spirit beyond the letter. He keeps the spirit of that 10-point agenda that became the panacea for the agreement between ODM and UDA, between Raila Odinga and himself. And he must demonstrate tangibly how he has worked to achieve each of those points. And I know that agreement expires in 2 days, tomorrow, the day after. He should then have a state of the agreement address, going down line by line. If we promised we would reduce travel, as a cost-saving measure, have we done it? To what extent? Because then if we haven't, then we start a new conversation of, how committed are you even into the things and the agreements that may be signed between you and ODM for later? So those are dynamics that we deal with when we cross the bridge. Yeah.
Is the president really committed to achieving what they had agreed with Raila Odinga? Because it's going to be a conversation in the next few days whether ODM then should continue supporting the government based on their agreement. So it's going to be a big conversation. Do you think the president is really committed to achieving this?
That report will tell us. I wouldn't speak until I have seen that report. And I'm really looking forward.
Okay.
Because then we will be able to tell whether we have a D or an A. Did we accomplish everything? What didn't we accomplish? What are we doing about it? That report will tell us. And a C is a failure.
Okay.
So he has to score a B upwards, which is ordinarily 60% upwards.
Should you fail, will you continue to support the president?
It will be very hard to convince the members of the party if he fails in what was the reason Raila got into that conversation. It will be a challenge to persuade them tangibly.
Yeah.
So I again don't want to preempt whether he will succeed or fail. And I want to believe that he was intentional because I know that President Ruto had deep respect for Raila Odinga. I wouldn't want to think that he just casually, took all those promises for a joke. I would hope that.
Let's talk about some of the promises. Maybe you understand a bit, the 10-point agenda?
Yeah, I do.
Which are some of the things that you believe that the president has been able to achieve? Because when you talk about the cost of living, which is an issue, when you talk about the injustices meted out on the people by police, when you talk about all these issues that Raila Odinga talked about and that were part of the 10-point agenda, some of them we can be able to see them. And that is what some of the people, the Mwananchi, are asking. What has the president done on them? Even as you await for the report, how do you think that the president has fared?
I get very offended, and I saw that the cops killed someone in Kitengela. It riled me. It disgusts me. It offends me because it offends the spirit of that agreement. But we must ask then, how rampant has this continued to be? Has there been tangible action taken against these murderers? Those are the things. I do not want to join the fray for just the sake. Tangibly, as a public policy person, measurability of success is in the numbers. If you are telling us you've stopped the killings, tell us, how is this? Then he will probably say, in the last year before that, 1,000 people had been killed and not so much had been done. How many cops have been arrested? How many have been jailed for the killings they've done? But you must also understand that the jailing of the cops is with the judiciary, which is an independent arm of government all by itself. And I trust that as we get platforms like this to be able to explain to what extent the executive can move, to what extent the judiciary can move, to what extent legislature can work. I know that the executive sometimes, mostly ordinarily, has a lot of power over aspects of legislature because they control the majority leader, reports to the president or to the party, and therefore they should be able to fast track the things that are needed legislatively. And then when we get to the table, because when we talk about cost of living, he must then explain, if he's going to say that it has improved, how? In a manner, as I said earlier, that it will make sense. Has the cost of matatu movement from point A to B changed? Has the cost of gas that you cook with gone down? Have the costs of power or electricity gone down? What is it? And then when we get to those measures, we will be able to tell you have succeeded to this point or failed, greatly.
Interesting. Cost of living. Cost of living has been an issue since time immemorial. Every government that comes promises a new awakening for the Kenyan people of what it will do to ease the pain of Kenyans in terms of the cost of living. From the first president, and now the fifth president, perhaps as someone who has sat in the inner sanctums of power, can be able to say what really are some of the policy failures that the government has not been keen on to directly sort these issues. Because when you talk about, probably you talk about communication, some of the issues that the government has not been able to achieve. But really, when there is no money, I do not need the government to communicate anything for me to understand that I do not have pesa mfukoni. What are some of these policy failures that the government has directly done?
Policy making and policy implementation are multidimensional. Multidimensional in the sense the implementation of any policy is not linear. If today you said that as policy, for example, we will subsidize the cost of fertilizer, You need to know that subsidizing the cost of fertilizer means plugging in, because we do not manufacture them locally. It means government having to pay to some extent to import and then distribute. You need to know that if they have to pay and import, they have to rely on the treasury. The treasury has to balance its books and look at our debt ratios and then decide that this is what we are going to do. It's very many wheels turning. I think that when we look at various policies, they will have challenges or successes. Some not merely communication, some just faulty from the conceptualization stages all the way. I'm looking at how SHA has been a challenge in its own way, a communication problem, but some people also opine that it is how it is structured that could bring a challenge to its implementation.
Interesting.
There are therefore many things, the education system in Kenya is a great system. But what do we do with this system that churns out brilliant graduates every year? How do we create employment? How do we change our education model, not to wire our young people for employment, but for creating solutions and therefore making money while creating those solutions? Does an IT person have the chance to think and create a solution for a malfunctioning department in the county? Do they give space for new ideas?
Yeah.
How do you avoid the systemic problems on procurement, especially supply chain within government and red tape, that hinders and does not let talent thrive? How do you give an opportunity for a young farmer, agronomist who's gone back to Nyandarua to do their onions, and yet has to rely on a county road to get their wares to the market and doesn't have places to get their money? And that's why, some of these interventions like Nyota project are very, very key. If implemented right, very, very key in letting them understand the dynamics of politics, how to utilize their spaces, how to utilize resources, limited resources, and grow the potential for businesses.
Interesting. What does it take for the government to understand whatever you're saying? What does it take for the structures or the systems to be aligned to favor the hoi polloi? What does it take?
I think all governments work hard to try and support the hoi polloi. But when you talk, for example, from an MSME perspective, micro, small, and medium enterprises, you have to ensure that that the masses are able to access affordable capital. But the masses also have to be disciplined enough not to abuse the opportunities.
Interesting.
Because then you have youth fund, and people go with the mentality, hii tutachukua na hatutarudisha. Now, it's self-destructing to go to the women fund or youth fund, which has been set up to be able to help you get resources to run your business. And then you go with the attitude, sisi pia tunakula. But why do the citizens do that? Because corruption has become endemic, irredeemably. So they feel, si governor anaiba barabara zote, hii ya serikali wacha sisi pia tuibe. So there is need to rework our entire software to achieve, intentionally, achieve a better society. Will it happen now?
Okay.
Not immediately, but incrementally. If we go to our houses, teach our children the values that make a nation and make a society: kindness, honesty, trustworthiness, love, humility. The things that are at the very bottom. Say thank you, say please, say kindly may I. Those are the things that we need to fix.
Thank you so much.
And government cannot do it for us.
Okay, thank you. So I understand that there is also a responsibility on the common mananchi of what they ought to do, also to help drive the economy forward and generally to make life a bit easier. There is a another issue that is paining Kenyans, and that is the privatization of public wealth. You talk about Safaricom and pipeline and so on and so forth. And the idea of privatization of these public resources is being critiqued from both ways. And some of the reasons that are being given of why they should be privatized is because to make them more efficient. But there are people who are asking, why can't the government, what stops the government from making them efficient?
Yeah.
Because it is within the powers of the president to make things or the system work. And of course, I just wish to ask you that, of course, as you draw from your experience, is the privatization a necessary economic reform, as has been stated, or evidence of failure in managing public institutions?
Now, Eugene, the president cannot police everyone in the system to make people efficient if the character for efficiency is not in them. Yes, I believe in something known as tone at the top. He sets the tone. But he will not tell an accountant who refuses to come to work on time and leaves earlier than he should to do what's right. He can police them for a day or two. But how many will he police across the country? The president cannot force a police officer not to take a bribe. He can set the tone at the top and some will be fired, which will make people fall into line like Lee Kuan Yew did. The president cannot police everything. Now, I do not want to fall into the trap of people who want to castigate things even when there have been examples of things working. Safaricom was previously known as Telecom Kenya, telecommunications and post communication, blah, 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 KPTC. It was a behemoth government parastatal, but was gobbling losses until it became Safaricom, where government sold its original stake. Incrementally, of course. It was still marooned by all the graft, those things that they were. But the amount, the return on investment, quote unquote, of having sold their stake has been far huger. Why? Because we have all these challenges, red tape, corruption, all these things. And you need to appreciate that the way that most of our parastatals or even organizations or even government itself is structured is that if Eugene is problematic and is ineffective, firing him becomes a challenge. So he's going to be moved to another department to continue with the inefficiencies there.
Do you think the president...
privatization is not necessarily an admission of failure. There are moments when privatization is just strategic decision. What would worry me is whether we privatize at market value. Okay, so I would hope that if we are selling a 10%, 15% stake of our shares in Safaricom, then we do it competently and at market value in a manner that it doesn't bring questions about the intention for this, whether it was to truly benefit the country by plugging in the hole for reducing debt or setting up the infrastructure fund, but that it will not end up being something people are using to make money for themselves, for campaign, all those things.
Okay.
So privatization in itself is not entirely bad. In fact, as young people get into business, I tell us every day, it's not a bad thing to get to a point where your business has grown and Eugene has come to buy a stake in the business and say, can I get 15% stake in your business? I see it's a good tech business. Can I have a 15% stake for the value of 100 million? It's not bad. So it can't be bad when government does it.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Because this happens, and Kenya is a democracy.
Yeah.
And within our constitution also, public participation is
critical.
very important.
Very critical.
The public says they are not interested. Of course, a good number says they're not interested because they do not see the value for the money. what do you think then? Should the government be able to do? Because they're asking, and there's this conversation around.
And they're right.
They're asking this question that why the people that are buying actually, because they're privatizing these institutions, and then it is being bought by the same people that are selling them. So, what makes it difficult for a president to make things work if it is when it is a public institution, and then buys it through a proxy? Of course, they mention allegedly that will make then the president make it work when it is now a private institution.
We also have a country of rumor mongering sometimes.
Yes.
The public is justified to express their dissatisfaction.
Yes.
Public participation must be taken seriously.
Yeah.
But public participation is not shouting in the crowd. It is bringing cogent, meaningful persuasion as to why it can't work. Structured engagement. When we come to say this can't work, it's not about hiring people to go when public participation is not done. It's easy to mekata. Na hata ukiuliza mekata nini? Hiyo tu. There has to be. This is why we refuse. These are the reasons we are giving. And the sentiments gathered during public participation must be taken seriously. Now, we go back to the issue of ethics. Remember what I said, that we need to fix at our, the values of our nation. Are we honest? Are leaders honest in their bidding? So that then they get to earn the believability that they, that they wish. Is it true? Do you inspire confidence so that then when you say we are selling 10% stake of SPM bars, then we know that it is for good intention. Now, that's a whole new dynamics, and that's why leaders must consistently and continuously work on being honest, faithful, and ethical.
Another critical issue is on the public debt. Kenya spends almost 60 to recently 90% of its taxes collected on servicing public debt.
Yeah.
And I believe the IMF's threshold is 30%, if I'm not wrong, of its total revenue. And it's an issue that has actually troubled so many Kenyans. Some saying that this public debt that we has accrued is not even helping Kenyans. It is an odious debt. And there are so many issues around it. And Kenyans are saying tumechoka with this debt. What do you make of Kenya's debt? Before I ask even the next question.
I have been a huge proponent for us publishing our debt openly, and in a manner that they are traceable to what the debt that we incurred have been able to do for the economy. I will want to hope that this can be made public. Let Kenyans know today we have borrowed this much. Are you seeing that road, that tarmac road between Tiwi and Diani? That road has been done by this debt at this amount. Do you see the road between Peketoni and let's say Malindi? That has been done by this amount. When we publish it, there will be no such questions. Indeed, our debt situation is worrying. And something has to be done, and something being done is not just talking, is intentionality. But in the likewise manner, Kenyans must be ready for the hard decisions. Because if then, for example, it is determined that government is flooded with numbers we don't need, are they ready to go home so that we reduce our debt? That's where the rubber will meet the road. And they say, hapana, mimi usiniguze, sikufanyangi chochote, lakini usiniguze. So that balance needs to be there. But Kenyans need to be shown, it has to be published, what our debt has done and is doing for us. And then we will be able to know who is culpable for our losses, known as quote-unquote debts.
We have some under public debt. we have Bretton Woods institutions. We have like the IMF and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Which greatly it is believed that they are using the debt to be able to actually control African countries now, like Kenya. Do you believe this is true? And probably, what then ought to be done? Because it seems that this makes us even question our independence in the policies that we make as a country, and some will even reference on the 2024 finance bill, which they believe greatly was sponsored by people not from Kenya,
Yeah.
and actually it had to pass somehow because of our public debt. And what do you make, Mwalimu?
Our debt is not entirely from the Bretton Woods institution. There's debt we owe to Italy. There's debt we owe to China. There's debt we definitely owe hugely to your IMF and World Bank.
Yeah.
What I know as a philosophy of life is the lender controls the borrower. And so for us to be able to achieve independence, whether it is philosophical, whether it is political,
Yes.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
we need to reduce our debt.
Yeah.
But it's also not true that all debt are for control.
Yes.
Sometimes some of the debt are just to sort out our needs.
Yeah.
I know the president has taken decisions that would necessarily not be pro-America, which controls the Bretton Woods institution. There have been decisions he's made that would favor the East over the West. And yet we owe the West.
Yeah.
So what my sentiment would be is we collectively must work to hold one another accountable to ensure that we reduce our debt levels and to question how this debt is being utilized. Kenyans must be interested in their country, not just to make noise. They must want to know. If we say Eurobond, what is it?
Okay.
How was it structured? For what was it meant? Has it achieved it? And if not, how do we get out of it? What is the solution for it? Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Mwalimu, we are coming to the close of these conversations, and permit
Yes.
me to ask you the very last questions. And one of them is on geopolitics. It's a global issue, particularly on some of the wars that we've experienced recently.
Yeah.
You talk about the Russia-Ukraine war.
Yeah.
Talk about the East Congo war, the Sudan, Somalia, and so on and so forth. That actually, to some extent, have affected even the economy of Kenya and the global economy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and so many Kenyans would dare ask, that are these by any chance ending soon, or probably these wars? And are they probably a preparation or introduction to some global uncertainties yet to come? Or probably is there an exit?
No, I think
Forthcoming.
the wars have different reasons. It's control. It's people seeking to control, sovereignty of their borders and sanctity of their borders. Some are for resources, trying to take advantage of other countries or trying to ensure that they make as most from different countries as they are. It's the very nature of power. Power attempts to have control and wield control.
Is it ending soon?
I would hope it should, because it's detrimental even for the people who pursue so much of that power, whether it's to control the natural resources or to control populations, whatever it is, or to control technology. I would hope it would end soon, but hope is not a strategy in politics. So there have to be tangible things done for it to end soon. Clearly, we are in a very interesting time with the outright defiance of the U.S. to some of these, for example, UN bodies and all. And it will have dynamics. So it's a watch, wait and see.
Okay. Interesting. Hopefully.
Yeah.
As we head towards 2027,
Yeah.
there's a lot that are yet to be seen.
Yeah.
And as we know the history of Kenya's politics, the political terrain,
Yes.
Kenyans have actually been voting against individuals.
Yeah.
And it is said that not so much on issues, but against individuals and so on and so forth, and against tribes and so on.
Yeah.
Perhaps in 2027 it could be different. But I wish to ask, what, from your understanding, do you think will inform the decision of how people are going to vote in 2027? Is it on tribe? Is it going to be influenced on policies, ideologies? What are we to see?
The pocket. How do they feel there? That is what will determine that election. How do people feel in their pocket? What do they see around them? Have things changed? And how well the incumbent or opposition is able to communicate what they have achieved or lack thereof. And I hope that political conversations like these are able to elucidate meaningfully what is the truth and what is untrue. When we do that, we afford the population a lens into the realities of governance, so that then they are not voting by heart based on propaganda or misinformation or disinformation, but they are voting quite aware of what is the reality. Because you can go vote for or against somebody hoping that the situation today will change,
Yes.
that tomorrow fuel prices will drop.
Yes.
But the dynamics around that are far too higher, because when they see the roads done, they do not know that part of the fuel they have paid for has done the roads in the road levies and things like those.
Okay.
So it will boil down to, how do people feel in their pockets? And what do they see around them? Do they see a hospital that's working? Do they see a road that's working? Do they see facilities and amenities that are running okay? And if they're disappointed, then there'll be a challenge. And so the MCAs, the MPs, the senators, the women reps, the president, every single person must get ready for, the governors even more, for that reality.
Every election cycle, Kenyans, there is a bit of wars, and
Yeah.
from 2007, 2013, there was a bit of it. In 2013, there was 2017, 2022. Either in places, there could be burning of ties and so on and so forth. Going towards 2027, what poses a great threat to peaceful, credible, and stable elections in 2027?
I have seen violence meted across the country, and it worries me. And if we don't rein in on this wave of violence that seems to come from both factions, both pro-government and pro-opposition camps, we are going to have a very violent election. And so it's upon the president, as a father of the nation, to rein in on it firmly, decisively, and also just ensure that he doesn't take sides. That way, we will cure the possibility of a disastrously violent election in 2027. You see it in every little action. I saw Kisi, what happened. I have seen what's going on in Kitangela, all these things. Nakuru the other day, when we had by-elections, I saw Narok, what happened. And it will be dangerous to encourage it. I repeat, every leader must know. They must know well not to feed a beast that would return to bite them.
But
You could feed the beast of dissent and violence, then in the last minute it comes for you.
But is it only the government? Because when you talk about violence, it has been meted out from both ends. The opposition, the government, all of them contribute significantly, because they're saying to
They
Maybiwa.
They do. But you know, I call on the president not as the political leader of that wing, but as the president of the country, the institution charged with ensuring the safety and security of his citizens, whether they belong to the opposition or are pro him.
Okay.
And that's why I'm urging that he has to, because he's the one who has the apparatus to implement law and order. The opposition don't.
Okay.
They could do all they want.
Okay.
But if you implement the policy, or if you implement the decision to stop violence in a manner that does not seem to be fair and just, then nobody will take you seriously.
Interesting. Finally, we have so many presidential contenders, and my question to you will be, the next president of Kenya, what qualities must they have in order to rebuild the public trust and drive meaningful reform that is needed? Just in a bit.
I think you mean the person who will lead Kenya between 2027 and 2032. It could be the incumbent.
Yes.
It could be somebody else.
Yes.
That person must intentionally fight our biggest monster, two of our biggest monsters.
Yeah.
Corruption and negative ethnicity, else known as tribalism.
Interesting. We have President William RUTO.
Yep.
Is it the man?
He stands a chance like all the rest. Maybe even a bigger chance because he's an incumbent. Incumbency comes with its problems, but also comes with its advantages. You see, the president can go to do a rally in Narok. He can go for official duty in Narok, which is fueled by our resources. He will be in Narok. While on official duty, he will stop by for a rally.
Kalonzo Musyoka?
All these leaders are great leaders. Matiang'i, Kalonzo, Sifuna, President William Ruto. Yeah? But I'm a member of ODM. So I will support the person with which ODM will have a pact. But while doing so, I will ensure that I also voice what I want to see for a better Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So what is next for the future president of Kenya?
I will be in Parliament in 2027 by the grace of God.
Amen.
Parliament as National Assembly and Senate. I will be in Parliament by God's grace.
Amen. Thank you so much, David Osiany. That is a future president of Kenya.
Indeed. Amen.
Yes, we pray for you.
Amen.
But of course, Kenya stands indeed at a defining moment, facing economic pressure, political uncertainty, and a lot of troubles. But we're yet to see what will unfold, even as we head towards 2027. I had an opportunity to sit with the former CS, David Osiany. Through his perspective and lenses, we've learned a lot as he got to elucidate and talk deeply on critical issues. This is the PowerTable, where we get to bring men and women of influence and power so that we can be able to see things through their lenses. My name is Osiany, and see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.